Oh, been craving a sausage roll for ages. Hello, in this video I'm going to show you exactly what I ate during the Highland Trail 550 bikepacking race. I'm going to work out how much energy I ate, how much energy I burnt, and then see if there's any kind of deficit. So without further ado, let's get back home and I'll try and do some sums. So I finished my sausage roll, I'm now back home and I've worked out all the calories that I consumed and the calories I used during the race. Now I started the race with quite a lot of food, and before I went away I shot a quick little video explaining what I took with me. So as you can see, pre-race madness, but I'll show you what I'm taking to start the race. So essentially I have two of these packs, and the idea is that these will be pretty much a day's worth of energy. So I'm taking quite a lot of stuff food wise to start with. So most of my frame pack is going to be food, but I'm hoping it will pay off as the first part of the course can be quite remote. So each one of my packs is about 700 grams of carbs, slightly over. So a lot of the pro cyclists nowadays are trying to, like in the World Tour races on the road, they're trying to burn between 100 and 130 grams of carbs per hour, which is a lot. I have done it in a race, but it's not really viable for bikepacking. So I'm working on, if I can get about 50, if I have at least 50 grams of carbs with me, in this 700 grams, that's like 14 hours. That's essentially, you know, enough energy to ride at a nice steady pace for a day, basically. And then I can add to that as I go along. So basically I've got a few gels, got the Steiker ones, I've got some OTE ones. I like these, I've got 40 grams of carbs in each. These are my favourites, but I've run out. So I've got a few Steikers. And I've got a couple of these Morton ones. Not used them yet. These are 20 grams each. Those are 30. So yeah, OTEs I favour. And then I've got a mix of bars, just to keep the flavours up and varied. So the Stoiker rice bars, 50 grams. And some Morton bars. They're 45 grams of carbs each. So I've got 5 bars, and I've got some drink mix. So this is the OTE super carbs. So I mix this up really strong. So you notice I've got one bottle on my bike and then a hydration pack. So basically I'm taking powder because that's a really efficient way of carrying energy. And that's 140 grams of carbs in there. So it's pretty sickly, but because I've got a hydration pack and standard water, it's not really a problem for me. Got a Steiker one, caffeine mix, that's 90 grams of carbs. So I'll probably use that if I'm getting a bit tired. And then I've got these holy fat bars. So basically they use hydroglycerides, I think it is. So essentially it's like coconut oil, the stuff you find in coconut oil. So there's no carbs in it, but there's a lot of fat. So I find later in the race, you know, when your body's kind of switching into fat burning mode, these work really well. And they just kind of sit in your stomach a bit. So you can go quite a long way on one bar if you're going nice and steady. So I've got 2 of those, and then I've also got a load of bars and a load of gels to see me through the first day. So I'll show you what I've got there. So the food I'm going to start with for day one in my pockets, again, a mix of bars and gels. Hopefully I can fit all of it in. So there's mixed Steiker gels, 100 grams of carbs, 5 Morton gels, another 100, so that's 300 grams. About just under 400 grams worth of bars, again, a mix of Morton and Steiker. A couple of holy fat bars and an extra bonus gel. Hopefully I can fit all of that in. So that's 4, 5, 6, 700 grams of carbs. So again, I've got the same amount as is in my packs. So I'm hoping that will see me through the first sort of 2.5, 3 days of the event without having to resupply too much. I will need normal food. I'm sure I can't stomach all of this non-stop, but at least I know I've got the calories if I need them. So as you can see, I was basically planning around carbs, but for the purpose of this video, I've basically changed everything to calories, just because there was such a mix of different food types and in fuel sources that I was consuming during the race. And I think it's more relevant to kind of the average viewer. So from now on, everything is going to be talked about in calories. So here's a little summary of everything I took in the frame bags. Just bear in mind there was 2 of these packs. So essentially it had 2 Morton bars, 450 calories, 3 Steiker bars, 750 calories, 3 Steiker gels. One of those was a nitrate and one of those was a caffeine gel, and one standard one, about 390 calories, 1 OTE gel, 1 Morton gel, so they're 160 calories in an OTE, 100 in a Morton, Sachet of Steichen 90 mix, that's a caffeine one, 372 calories, 2 of those, obviously with 2 packs. 2 holy fat bars, that's these things here, which are kind of, there's no carbs in them, but they obviously, well, kind of fats, work really well. I'll go into more details on that later. And then 2 little decanted bags of OTE super carbs. So I made that in each of those packs I had in the frame bag, 6,624 calories, so that was 13,248 calories in total for those 2 bags. Now in addition to that, I started the race with just a load of food in my pockets. So the idea was those 2 bags I wouldn't touch till day 2 and 3. So the first day I thought I could get through with what I had with me. So I made 6 cheese and pickle sandwiches. That was just like 1 slice of bread, basically folded in half, with cheese, just sliced cheese and pickle. Basically the pickle was just to stop it going too dry and horrible, because when it's been sat in your pocket for a while or in a bag, they can go quite crispy and disgusting. Then I had 7 Morton bars, 7 Morton gels. Now these gels are interesting. They're kind of like a jelly almost. They're called hydrogels. So there's not as many calories as say the OTE or the Steichen gels, but they're just a different texture. I quite like them actually. They're got a bit of a punch, and you can kind of feel them going into your stomach and into your intestines, rather than just like a syrup. So I kind of like those, just different kind of textures and stuff. Always helps. Then a couple of holy fat bars. Again, I use these. It's a funny one because obviously if you're doing a high intensity exercise, then eating the fats isn't going to work so well for you. You just want the carbs. It's kind of like the super fuel, the rocket fuel. But we're doing a lot of low intensity stuff on these bikepacking rides and races. So having the fats worked really well for me. And I found later in the day when I was starting to flag a bit, when your carb stores are like just kind of flagging, if I had one of those bars, I just go to a nice level. You know, I'd feel like a bit full up, or certainly not full up, but certainly something in my stomach, and the energy would be really nice and consistent, and I could just keep tapping away on the pedals. The other thing I found is that after a while, my mouth was just ruined from all the sugar, and the texture of these bars, because it is, it's kind of like coconut oil in kind of, there's a lot of oil in it, and I found it really, really soothing on my mouth. So yeah, it was almost like a palate refresh as well as putting quite a lot of calories in that would sit there for quite a while. So yeah, then I started the race with a bottle of OTE super carbs mixed up, ready pre-race. Then I had a pre-made sachet, which I topped up at the first stop at Fort Augustus when I refilled with water. So yeah, that was 4,335 calories approximately. Now I'll just put a caveat in this video. These are approximate estimations. I'm no nutritionist. I'm not giving any advice on how we should eat, because I don't think eating that many gels or that many sausage rolls, as you'll see soon, in a race or in a 4-day period is healthy. But you know, bikepacking racing is probably not healthy either in the grand scheme of things. And yeah, and in terms of like these are estimations. I used the manufacturer websites where I could get the nutritional information. If not, I used a generic kind of food diary thing on the web, which told me I'm drastically underweight and need to see a doctor as well, incidentally, when I tried signing up for it. But that gave me an estimate on sort of the calories. So they're not going to be 100% accurate. But I think I've been through all these figures and I think it's about right in the ballpark. So it's just an interesting exercise just to see, you know, see how these things work. So that was everything I started with. And the first stop, I wasn't actually going to stop at the first resupply. So this is Fort Augustus, about 100 miles in. And my plan was I had all this food with me and I was just going to ride through the night and probably stop at Drumbeg stores towards the end of day 2. But it was quite a warm day, probably getting a little bit dehydrated, and I was finding like the you know, this high carb energy stuff was just getting a little bit too much for me. So I decided that I'd just stop at the resupply anyway, and basically just buy some stuff I fancied. So as you can see, it was quite a savoury resupply. So I brought 4 pepperonis, 448 calories between the 4 of them. 3 sausage rolls, that's nearly 1,000 calories there. Obviously, there's a lot of fat and stuff in these things, but also a lot of salt and a lot of savoury flavours, and that's what I was really craving at that particular time. Also brought a bar of fudge. I kind of like fudge, and it's just loads of sugar, a bit fatty but at times, but it was okay. I did eat the fudge, and it did make me feel a little bit sick. I don't think my stomach was really ready for that, but it tasted nice. And then I just got a nice tea. Not much in the way of calories, but again, just a different flavour. And I think here I also filled up my water, just got some water, and I used one of those OTE sachets in my bottle, just so there was something just to sip on. You know, that's why I find the drinks work really well. Just continual calories just sort of ticking away, because you're always burning. So yeah, so it was a quick stop, about 10 minutes, not even that, basically straight in, straight out. Still had loads of food with me, but yeah, my palate was somewhat kind of settled, and my stomach was settled once I got all this food. So then the race was on, heading up north. Not much in the way of resupply. Certainly when I was passing through, you know, during the night. That's the thing about the Highland Trail, and it's kind of the reason I took a lot of stuff with me. There are resupplies, but quite often if you're on a fast pace, you miss a lot of them. You know, everything's shut. So yeah, I was very pleased when I then, coming off Belark Corn on a rough descent, one of the riders ahead of me must have dropped something. Packet of Mentos. I jammed the brakes on, picked them up. Firstly, didn't want to leave sort of the litter on the course, and secondly, free food. So yeah, had a pack of Mentos, chewed those most of the way towards Dunbreg Stores, and yeah, that was a bit of a bonus. So then I rolled into Drumbeg, and so this is a really interesting resupply. Basically, the couple that own the shop, they're really lovely. It's not the fastest resupply because you just feel like you need to have a chat with them, but they follow the race and they open up especially for races at any hour. So I got there about 6 o'clock on a Sunday, and they saw me come in, waved out the window, and then came in and opened the store. So again, I still had a load of energy, all the racy food. So it was more a case of just buying stuff I fancied rather than, you know, really needing a top up of calories. So I brought 4 sandwiches, bread rolls, I think 3 coronation chicken, and I think there's a salmon and cream cheese, it tasted amazing. Big slice of lemon drizzle cake, which I ate there and then. And I brought a bag of chocolate raisins, again, just fancied them. And I brought a pack of penguin bars, little chocolate bars, and just shoved those in the front of my bag, knowing that I wouldn't be getting resupply till the next day. And yeah, it kind of just, it filled a gap, you know, just having the bread rolls. It just made me feel a bit fuller. You can plow in like as many calories as you like, but sometimes you just want something to sit there for a little bit. And by this point, the pace is really, you know, slowed down. So you're not going to be, you know, there's not so much need for just getting carbs in. So yeah, off I rolled into the night from Drumbeg, another 2,100 calories in the bank, and then I rode quite late, slept a couple of hours, and then got a resupply the next morning at Ullapool, just at the Jet petrol station. It's quite a good one. It's on the route, what's it called, the North Coast 500 route, so lots of traffic driving through, so caters accordingly. And yeah, I was a smelly cyclist and just dumped my crap everywhere outside and trudged around. So I had the taste for sausage rolls by this point. 2 sausage rolls, 658 calories between them. 2 egg sandwiches. I was into egg sandwiches on this race. It has to be fair. I think certain races you get different taste buds, and yeah, egg was, for some reason, egg and cress was good for me. 690 calories, a ham and cheese roll, 266 calories. Then a pack of Gold bars, little white chocolate, almost yellow chocolate, probably loads of additives. Chocolate bars, my absolute favourite, and 4 caramel bars. Again, I just shoved these in the front of my bag and I could just snack on them as and when. So 760 calories in the pack there, and 536 calories for the caramel bars. So that was another resupply of just under 3,000 calories. Bear in mind, I still had another pack of the energy stuff I took from the start, so I was well up on energy at this point. And then I went through one of the most remote sections of the course, which was Fisherfield, and the next resupply potentially would be Pouliou, but I was I was late for the shop there, so I knew that I knew I had to get a lot at Ullapool. And then rely on my reserves to get through to the next resupply, and that was a little jet gas station, which was the other side of Dorney. So that's almost 100 miles further along the course. And at this resupply, I got there about 7 a.m. They'd not been open very long. The theme is kind of emerging now about what I was fancying. So cheese and pickle sandwich, 2 egg sandwiches, 8 Rocky bars, 8 gold bars. Again, chocolate bars went in the front, ate a sandwich there and packed a few in. And then I was supplementing this the whole time, you know, with like the Morton bars I had with me, the Holy Fat bars, the gels. So yeah, basically if I was hungry and I fancied something, I'd eat some of the nice stuff I brought. If I knew that my system was getting low, I'd just eat one of the, you know, the high carb energy stuff. Bit of a means to an end, really. So after that, resupply, another quite remote section, and then the next place to resupply is Fort Augustus again. So the same shop I stopped at on the first day, so I kind of knew what was going to be there, and this was going to be my last stop until the end. Been most of the day without a resupply, and I knew I'd probably have to ride through the night. I knew I wouldn't have anything until the finish. By this point, my sort of supply of like the high carb stuff I'd taken with me was running lower, so I brought a bit more. And to be honest, you know, 3.5 days in, getting pretty hungry, so I kind of went a little bit wild in the shop. God knows how much that cost me, but you don't really look when you're hungry in an ultra. Again, a cheese and pickle sandwich, 270 calories, an egg sandwich, 345, pack of Rocky bars, a bacon roll. That was nice. Again, filling and a little bit savoury and salty. It'd been quite a warm day, so I was kind of after some salt. 2 massive chocolate toffee chip cookies. They were like rocket fuel. I saved those. Actually ate the last one when I woke up on the final morning, and you know, had an hour's sleep and ate a toffee chip cookie. That was the lights went on pretty quick. So yeah, lots of good energy in there. Another 2 sausage rolls. I brought some pineapple chunks, not really much in the way of energy, but I just really fancied some fruit. Your body tells you when you need minerals and stuff. I mean, you may notice this diet has been lacking in vitamins substantially. So yeah, my body was telling me I needed some fruit. So I got some pineapple chunks, 2 little drinks. I think I got like a little Vimto and Oasis or something. Downed one, put the other in my bottle. Again, a pack of chocolate raisins. So that was a good haul in terms of calories, 3,585 calories, and that pretty much saw me through to the end of the race. And yeah, like I had a few bars and gels left as well, but my reserves were dwindling by that point. So yeah, so I had to be confident I could get all the way to the finish in time drum. So just to summarise all of that, this is what I got. So started with the frame bags, 13,248 calories. That was in those packs. In my pockets for the first day, including those cheese and pickle sandwiches, 4,335 calories. First resupply at Fort Augustus, 1,648 calories. Finding the Mentos on the trail, 390 calories. Drumbeg stores, 2,106 calories. Ullapool petrol station, 2,910. The Jet petrol station up the road from Dorney, 2,894 calories. And the final resupply at Fort Augustus, 3,585. So I made that a total of 31,116 calories that I either took with me or brought during the course of the race. Now, I didn't eat all of that. There were some leftovers. So I had the 2 Steiker 90 mix drink sachets left over. Actually, no, that's a lie. One of them I put into my bottle on the final morning, and I probably took 2 sips of it, but I just wasn't really feeling it. just wasn't really doing it for me at that particular time. And I did have a bit of a gel burst in one of my packs. So one of my OTE gels burst, and then that covered one of my Holy Fat bars and a couple of the Morton bars, and the other sachet of Stiker Mix. So to be honest, I didn't use it because I probably would have used some of them, but it was just a sticky, horrible mess, and it was contained within a plastic bag, within my frame bag, so I just left it. I just didn't need to be getting covered in energy gel, you know, on the final morning of this race. I also had a couple of Morton bars left in my hydration vest from that first day, so I carried them the whole way. To be honest, I mean, they're okay, but the taste was getting a little bit too much for me by the end of it. I mean, there's a lot of energy in a small bar there. I did prefer the Stiker bars, mainly I guess because I probably had less of them, so I wasn't so taste fatigued. But there's 3 different flavors, which was nicer. These are just kind of a bit of a chocolatey one, and they were getting a bit too much for me by the end. However, I knew that there was a load of carbs in them, so if I had one of those, I'm good for an hour or so. I also had a load of chocolate bars stashed in the front net of my tailfin bag. Probably about 10 left. Again, as I said at the start of this video, it's more of an estimate more than anything, but I reckon there's probably 1,000 calories worth of energy there. So I actually finished with 3,278 calories worth of energy, approximately. So yeah, I could have gone a little bit further. So total calories consumed, I basically just minus the leftovers from everything I took with me and everything I brought. Again, it's an estimate. So I think I consumed 27,838 kilocalories. Now at this point, I just want to say I'm not including the breakfast before the start. I'm kind of going from the race time. So I probably would have had energy stored within my muscles and within my body. I've not accounted for that. But I think for an exercise, I think it's about right. So I also then worked out what I think the energy I think I burnt, the amount of calories I think I burnt during the event. So like I said, my power meter was going a bit wonky. At one point I was doing like 400 watts on the flat cruising, which would be very nice, but I just know it's not realistic. So I basically took the first sort of day and a half's power, like Training Peaks gives me like the calories used, and I kind of divided that by the moving time to give me a rough estimate. So it was saying 438 calories, which is probably about right, to be honest, at the low intensity, maybe a little on the low side. I mean, if you've got any sort of more insight, then feel free to comment. Like I say, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not an expert on this, but it's just an interesting exercise to run through. So I think I burnt 31,098-ish calories during the event. That's via the exercise. Then obviously you've got your kind of the calories you need just to survive. You know, like your basic body like running cost of energy, I suppose. That's the basal metabolic rate, I believe. So I just put this in an online calculator, and I came out with needing 1,744 calories per day to basically operate at my basic human level, which to be honest sounds about right. And times that by 4 days, because I was essentially just under 4 days for the race, so I reckon that was a further just under 7,000 calories, 6,976 calories, in addition to the 31,000 I burnt through cycling and hiking. So I came up with a total of 38,074 kilocalories burnt during that 4-day period of the event. So I then worked out, well, I assumed there would be a deficit. I would have been amazed if I managed to put in more calories than I burnt. So we have the calories burnt, so 38,074 burnt, minus the calories I consumed, which was 27,838, and I worked out that was basically a 10,000 around about calorie deficit. So yeah, so that's kind of unsurprising, really. Everyone knows that after these long endurance events, you do come back quite lean. So I worked out, I think it's just over 7,000 a 7,000 calorie deficit to burn a kilogram of fat. So that's approximately 1.3 kilograms of fat that I potentially burn during this event over 4 days. Again, the caveat is I didn't take into account any of the energy that was stored within my body, and I'm shoddy at maths and am not a nutritionist. So just bear that in mind and take it with a bit of a pinch of salt when you're watching it. But yeah, so that is that. So that's what I think I burnt and used during the Highland Trail 550. As you can see, it's surprising what energy you can buy in shops. Maybe this is a good useful guide to see what you should pick up when you're trying to resupply. I would recommend trying to take some of the things like the holy fat bars, or some of like the high carb stuff. It does make a real difference, I think personally. But obviously when you're bikepacking, you've got to carry that with you, so it's a bit of a trade-off. I hope you found this useful. If you've got any questions about what I ate or any feedback on the way I work things out, please put it down in the comments. Any feedback is very much appreciated. Like I said, I'm not a super expert, but I find this quite interesting. So hopefully it's been useful. Don't forget to watch my bike check video and my kit check videos. They're up now. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.